So this is going to be really hard to squeeze into 3 minutes, but basically I wanted to speak on the idea of perspective and not just perspective, but definite truth, right? So the one conversation I always hated growing up was if you were randomly walking and you saw an arrow on the ground and, you know, what direction is the arrow pointing? Most people tend to use this as a way to get you to change perspective and to consider all angles, right? Which is important, and I do understand the point of what they thought they were doing, but they fundamentally missed something that I think is even more significant, right? And that's the idea of definite truth. Because even though I understand the point of the question, and, yes, perspective is key, consider all angles, and, like, depending on your perspective versus someone else's perspective, things appear differently. But that being said, a situation is what it is regardless of your perception, right? And that's an important one, is that someone had to make that arrow. It didn't come out of nowhere, right? It's a marker. So someone made it. So when it was made, that arrow had significance to the person that made it, meaning that that arrow does in fact point somewhere, right? And even though it may have no significance to you, therefore from your perspective, it could just be, well, it points left because I'm facing this way, or it points right because I'm facing this way. Well, in fact, you're all wrong. It's actually pointing east because it's a marker, you know what I mean? There's buried treasure that way. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, it's the idea that just because you're uninvolved with something and you have no intimate knowledge of it, and it's not, even, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is like when you lack intimate knowledge on something and you're removed from it and you just approach something from nowhere looking at it from arbitrary metrics, how could you possibly come out with the right answer as to what something is or what it could be when you lack perspective? Like, you think you have the most perspective because you're considering all angles, but in fact, it's in pursuit of all the other angles that takes away your perspective because you miss the significance of what the thing is. So all I'm saying is, and I hope that this actually made some sort of sense. I shouldn't have smoked before doing this, but all I'm saying is take the time to dig a little deeper, and even though it is good to explore all angles, take the time to consider that it might actually have significance to someone else, and there may be a correct answer.